CRCL has been in a massive uptrend, guys. Since seeing stock price IPO at these $64 highs, we continue to ascend higher at a peak of 248.88. With that being said, my name is Dylan from Dylan Trades. We're going to get into this technical analysis price prediction starting now on the daily analysis. On the daily analysis, guys, straight away, we see a reoccurring trend with these IPOs. Even the strongest IPO stocks, they typically set a low, they rise up very strong, as CRCL did. They set a high for a weekly or a daily range, right? Stock price typically comes down to the floor, to the ceiling, and it stays in this range for quite some time. Doge, a lot of these volatile stocks, I can name 1,000 off the top of my head, guys. They go over to the top, and if they get that breakout, they might print a higher low of some reminisce and then break out, right? To see CRCL skip that process, clearly form that first red day and another, looking like we might come down and continue this range-like formation, which these stocks like to have, it skipped the plan, guys. Immediately had a big wide bar, pressing up right at the top of that level, which within these candlesticks, guys, there's only one resistance level you have to keep in mind. It's this. It's this right here, right? And candlesticks gapped up, moving into the next day, squeezing out any short sellers within their position. So that's very, very abundant, guys. Any attempts from the sellers to get an overextension move to the downside, they've been squeezed, guys. This is just a really hard stock to short at this current moment. With that being said, other notable thing is that we see this volume profile ascending, hence this arrow we have drawn up right here, guys. And that's so key with these kind of stocks, right? CRCL, any sort of volatile stock that is picking up some heat like this, especially in the IPO phase. You notice how when we continue to get these euphoric moves up, we get big price action volume. And a lot of guys say, oh, yeah. No, we really got to keep an eye on this, guys. Over the years, it's the number one indicator you can have. Number one is volume, right? If price action really starts to dull out, and not like a tight consolidation, like over here, stock price, yes, the volume is dying down, but it's in a tight bullish consolidation in a very, very tight spring loading like phase. Right when it gets over, if we mark up a vertical line to this level, you see how the volume snap from this ascension, signifying a breakout. And that's very, very abundant, guys. Once again, we're in this very, very tight consolidation. Volume is dying down, not too intense, but you see it slowly, gradually decreasing. And what we broke on this day, a big volume breakout. And as of last trading day, guys, we've seen once again another uptick in volume. So, there's some very incredible bars of volume, guys. If we continue to top this, that's really the number one sign that we could be very, very euphoric in the short-term price action range. So it's really the number one things we want to get out of the daily, guys, right? Of course, what comes up can come down. So bears are waiting on the sidelines, guys, but it's very, very hard. As all these guys down here, they have gotten obliterated. So, even though we are in theory extended in a short-term analysis, I say it all the time. I said it on CRWV. That stock's being a beast right now. I said it over here. These beast kind of stocks, guys, they can just go and go and go until it gets some clear data to prove otherwise. It can keep kicking ass, man. And that's really what we're seeing with CRCL. And it's continued to lead the dance, being the number one stock within these volatility ones at the current moment. With that being said, though, guys, being that there's only so many days on the candlesticks, we want to flip over to the hourly analysis to further analyze price action. What are we doing right now, guys? We're seeing a more glorified flagpole, right? Just as we did over here with this flagpole and this mini flagpole over here, now we have a massive clear uptrend, right? And at this point, we're waiting for some stem of a consolidation. Now, here's the part where, stock price could form a pennant-like structure where it enters a tight pinch, right? Something like this. It could play out longer for a couple of days. That's really the hardest part, guessing what. But it's almost 100% within these kind of structures that we're going to get another continuation, right? So keep an eye on this, guys. I think it's most likely we do flag out within this structure. Kind of just flag around. We are at 2.26%. within the after hours as of now, but we do see 1 and 2, 3 hourly wicks. This could be the top of the descending channel on this flagpole, guys. Mind you, over here we only needed 1, 2, and 3 touch points, guys, and boom. So this flag doesn't have to form too long, but looking at current price action, guys, we don't have a ton of data. Let's just keep it real. There's only been let's see, 1 and 2, 3 weeks, right, of price action. So as of now, it definitely does come down a lot of experience, and just time in the market. And seeing these continuations in the bull flag, having this very picture perfect flag pole-like structure, you got to think, man, When is the flag forming? How is the flagpole forming? There is a probability that we continue to gap up higher, maybe reaching that $275 psychological level and then forming out this flag. I'm not saying that can't happen, guys, but there is a pretty good implied probability the stock price flags out once again and gives that tight consolidation for the next movement. Intrinsically, obviously, guys, the trend is your friend. We would be leaning to a breakout to the upside, but there always is a possibility we get very, very tight and they reach us at $200. And that's really the last thing we want to get on your guys' mind, guys, is keep an eye on these psychological levels, man. With these kind of high flying stocks, being that there is no obvious, resistance level, keep an eye on $200, 250, 275, $300. We'll continue to see over the years, as we continue seeing, right, with these stocks, stock price perfectly came up to this $250 level, right around it, and started to haul. These big psychological levels in these quote unquote blue sky territories where there's no resistance and pushing all-time high, psychological levels are the next one to keep an eye on, and especially with these high flying stocks. So with that being said, guys, we do expect stock price to, eventually kind of consolidate amongst this, kind of channel, likely to be about a couple days consolidation. Within the volatility, I think it's pretty rare to see a very heavy consolidation for a week or two, but we are expecting stock price to accumulate before likely another move up, but we will cover that live, guys. We need to see what the data is looking like. So that being said, guys, keep it on these psychological levels, keep it on the volume profile, and this obvious flagpole structure for another continuation. If you guys want to see more CRCL videos, let me know down in the comments, guys. Hope you guys have a good day. Take care, trade smart, and peace.